What is going on YouTube? My name is Josh Frink, your favorite professional Pokemon TCG player, and today we are going to be covering the Terabox list that I used to win another huge online tournament. If you are interested in watching the full run of that tournament, you can find that over on my channel under the live sessions. It was about a 7-hour stream from round 1 all the way to the finals. We only dropped a single set playing this absolutely incredible deck. So I am very excited to be sharing it with you today. We did, I think it was around a 200-person tournament. I think maybe 202 players or something to that effect. And yeah, we took the whole thing down. You'll notice the list is very similar to the list that myself and Alex Shemansky played to the Milwaukee Regional Championships just last weekend. I was able to get a top 128 finish, and Alex got a top 64 finish with a list that was 2 cards off from the list that we have currently. I think the deck is very well positioned right now, especially with the rise of Raging Bolt sort of coming back into the meta with the win by Christian Labella. So we're going to be covering the deck here today, talking about all the ins and outs, and then getting into some games. So starting off, we have our 2 kinds of Hootoots, 3 of the 70 HP Hootoots. It's got 1 retreat cost. That's why we play this guy rather than just 4 of these Hootoots. We don't play any Buddy Poffin, so there's no like real value in the 70 HP, but the 2 retreat costs a pretty steep cost. If you don't get Latias in play early, if you don't get your Area 0 into play, or you want to preserve the Area 0, it's pretty important to have that 1 retreat cost in the early game. So we only play the 180 HP Hoothoot with the Insomnia. That doesn't really matter. 80 HP Hoothoot is in there so that Hawlucha plus Dragapult does not knock out your Hoothoot on the bench, which, you know, comes in handy. It came in handy in my final game against straight Dragapult last night. Yeah, pretty good. It's not necessary. It's not a necessary inclusion, but it does make that matchup slightly easier. Noctowl is the engine of the deck. Jewel Seeker, if you have a Tera Pokemon in play, when you evolve one of your Hootoots, you can search your deck for any 2 trainer cards, which is just an incredibly broken ability. The search effect of Noctowl is super broken. Yeah, there's really nothing else to say. Noctowl as an engine right now is incredibly strong, and it activates so many insane plays, so much aggression from us early on in the game as well. We have 2 copies of Fan Rotom with the Fan Call ability. This is going to let us get all of our Hootoots and our Noctowls into play so that we can use those things to set up our turn 2 attack. Typically, we're trying to use a 3 energy attack on our turn 2, whether it's Torrential Pump or Crown Opal or, you know, Topaz Bolt even. Being able to set up all of those Hootoots, get a Noctowl into your hand for the following turn is incredibly strong. Assault Landing is also a pretty decent attack. 70 damage for 1 energy when you have a Stadium in play is no joke. It's really quite good. And it also allows us to get Ditto. That transformative start ability means that Fan Rotom is now for us to have a Tera Pokemon, meaning that we can then activate our Noctowls on the following turn. So very good card here. Ditto transformative start. That's what it's there for, basically. If you start it, it's really good in general. It can get you Fan Rotom or a Tera. Typically off of Fan Rotom, though, we're getting it in order to get ourselves a Tera. Sometimes Latias if your hand is like really good, but it kind of depends. On to the attackers of the deck. We have Wellspring Mask Ogerpon for 1 colorless energy, Sob, 20 damage, stops your opponent from retreating. Very good attack. It's really strong, actually, especially in a format where Switch is like fairly uncommon. A lot of decks only play like 1 or 2, so you can buy yourself a lot of games by just using Sob until something is ready to die. And then Torrential Pump, which is the primary reason we have Wellspring Mask in the deck, does 100 damage to your opponent's active, and if you shuffle 3 energy cards attached to it into your deck, you also do 120 to your opponent's bench. So against all of these evolving archetypes, like Gardevoir, like Dragapult, like, you know, Goldango to some extent, Zoroark, you're going to be able to Torrential Pump, knock 2 Pokemon out, and, you know, disrupt their board in a sense, because you're removing some of these things that will inevitably evolve into the things that are the engines of their deck. So Wellspring Mask is an insane attacker right now, and especially us choosing first and being able to Torrential Pump before our opponent can evolve is incredibly strong. Next up, we have Terapagos EX Unified Beatdown for 2 colorless energy. Does 30 times the number of bench Pokemon, capping at 240. Great attack, 240 is a good number to hit. It knocks out a bunch of stuff. But honestly, right now, the reason why Terapagos EX is so good is because of that second attack, Crown Opal, for Grass, Water, Lightning. You do 180 damage, and then on your next turn, you can't take damage from basic non-colorless Pokemon. So against Raging Bolt, against Joltik Box, this is one of your primary attacks, because both of these decks really can only deal with Terapagos in one of 2 ways. Ursaluna, right? But it requires you to have a pretty low amount of prize cards for it to like actually do anything. Or they can go Prime and Boss on the same turn. But both of these decks really only play Prime as Switch. So if they use Prime and Boss, you can gust something up, sob, reset up the Crown Opal, bring the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon to the bench, continue to Crown Opal until you win the game if there's no bear, or until you're at enough of an advantage that even bear knocking out the secondary Terapagos is not a problem. This is a particularly potent strategy against Christian Labella's version of Raging Bolt, because he doesn't have the Bloodmoon Ursaluna. You can go for the Crown Opal early once they go Prime Boss. They only have 1 Gust left ever. It's the 1 boss off the Pal Pad, and you can just Crown Opal until you win the game, which is really, really strong. Next up, we have Teal Mask Ogerpon, mostly here for Teal Dance. When you use it, you can attach a grass from your hand, draw a card. Extra draw is good. Having energy in play is good so that you can energy switch to some of your other attackers, making it a little bit easier to get to those attacks. And then Myriad Leaf Shower comes up in some situations. It's 3 grass, 30 plus 30 for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. This one-shots things like Zoroark, it one-shots Charizard EX. Pretty good attack overall. And sometimes you can just like put a ton of energy onto Teal Mask Ogerpon and take a big knockout. I won the tournament in the finals. My very last attack was a Teal Mask Ogerpon with I think 7 energies on it for 300 damage. So it's a pretty potent attacker actually overall. Moving on to Pikachu EX with the Resolute Heart ability. If this Pokemon has full HP and would be knocked out, it lives with 10. So if you're familiar with VGC, it basically has a Focus Sash, which is really strong. Topaz Bolt for a Grass, Lightning, and Metal. Does 300 damage, and then you discard all of the energy. Sparkling Crystal eliminates one of those costs. So with a Grass and a Metal, or a Grass and a Lightning, or Lightning and a Metal, you can use this attack. Crispin fully sets it up with the crystal in play, so you can use these back-to-back because it's so difficult for many decks to get through this Resolute Heart ability. Pikachu is an insanely strong attacker. In this format, it's very, very difficult to deal with, so Pikachu is one of the star players of the deck for sure. Latias EX Skyliner is basically the only reason it's here. Basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. Is what it is. Fezandipiti EX, flip the script. Once during your turn, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. You can't use more than 1 flip the script ability each turn. It's just a draw engine. We want to draw cards. A lot of decks are going to take down our Hoothoots, try and aggressively take down our Hoothoots, or if we have a slower start and a limited number of Hootoots, you still need ways to draw. So flip the script is going to be one of the primary ways to do that. Cruel Arrow, which lets you snipe for 100 damage on one of your opponent's Pokemon, is also a decent attack. It doesn't come up often, but it's not bad in a pinch. Mew EX. With the restart ability, once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 3 cards in your hand. This is primarily what Mew is in the deck for, is to be able to use restart, get some extra cards. We're a little bit soft to Iono. Our deck is a bit soft to Iono. It's a bit soft to Stamp. But most of the time, all we need is an out to Noctowl. And then once we have that Noctowl, we can kind of activate a ton of different plays, even from a small amount of cards. So being able to draw even a couple of cards with Restart is really good. Then Genome Hacking for 3 colors lets you copy an opponent's attack. Very good. It lets you copy opposing Ursalunas. It lets you copy opposing Dragapults in tandem with Clefairy, which is quite good. There's plenty of good stuff to do with Mew EX. So yeah, incredible card overall. Lillie's Clefairy, Fairy Zone, makes all of your opponent's Dragon Pokemon weak to Psychic. So oftentimes this is going to be our closer against something like Dragapult. You can use it to take the first 2 prizes against Raging Bolt if you're just doing like a natural sort of like trade progression in that matchup. And then Full Moon Rondo, 20 plus 20 for each benched Pokemon. So against any of these opposing area 0 decks, or if you're, filling your bench out, you can hit, 280 damage. If you have 8, your opponent has 5, 340 if both you and your opponent have 8. It can get to really high numbers, and if you're going into Dragapult, all you need to hit is 160 and then you're one-shotting it. So Lillie's Clefairy is an excellent card here as well. Finally, for the attackers, we have Bloodmoon Ursaluna with Seasoned Skill. Every time your opponent takes a prize card, your Bloodmoon attack is 1 less energy. Bloodmoon is 240, and then you can't attack during the following turn. It's just an excellent closer. It's a very, very, very low resource intensive attacker. Usually you're not using it to the end of the game, so by the time you're using it, you need 1 or no energy in order to use the Bloodmoon attack. 240, like I said earlier, is quite a good number. And paired with Volcanion, you can hit for even better numbers. Scalding Steam, once during your turn, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burnt. We don't play Fire Energy, so we're not using Scorching Cyclone. Scalding Steam is basically in here to fix some problems that the deck has. Problem number 1, we have no way to knock out a Pikachu through Resolute Heart. This is what the card was initially added to the list for, was to break Resolute Heart on Pikachu. You can hit for the damage that you need, and then Burn will knock Pikachu out in between turns, effectively getting around Resolute Heart and not activating Fez as well, because Pikachu died to Burn in between turns, not on your turn. Excellent, right? Joltik Box, very popular. Joltik Box is also one of our worst matchups overall, so having that extra boost in the matchup is very strong, but there are tons of other uses to Volk as well. Like I said, getting around Fezandipiti, you can kind of do that in a plethora of ways. Again, in the finals last night, I used Fan Rotom plus Volk to knock out a Dracloak to get around my opponent's EXP share. And you can do that in a number of different ways. Unified Beatdown with 5 bench plus Scalding Steam does that to Squawk to get around Fez. There's plenty of numbers, right? Like with the scaling attacks that you have sort of throughout the deck, there are plenty of places where you can get around Fez, but also Scalding Steam fixes some specific math. It lets Terapagos and Ursaluna one-shot Goldango because they hit for 260 instead of 240. It lets them one-shot Ursaluna, right? Gets you the extra 20 that you need to knock out opposing Ursalunas. It also lets Pikachu EX knock out both Dragapult and Gardevoir EX. Less relevant for Dragapult, pretty relevant for Gardevoir. Being able to one-shot Gardevoir with Pikachu EX is like really quite good, actually. So yeah, Volk is in there for that. It's an incredible inclusion, something that was not very popular until Alex and I played it to Milwaukee, but I expect to see it see a lot more play going forward because it really is such a strong card in the deck. Moving on to trainers, we have 4 Crispin. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types, reveal them, put them into your hand, attach the other one to your Pokemon. It's just energy acceleration. It's really, really good, especially paired with Sparkling Crystal. It activates things like Wellspring, Pikachu very easily. You can set up Clefairy in a single turn. It lets you get, an attachment plus a grass for Teal Bands. Crispin is just like a really broken card. There's no real other way to say it. This card is absolutely insane. If this card didn't exist, the deck probably wouldn't function. So we love Crispin. This card is really, really, really good. 3 bosses orders. Alex and I only played 2 to Milwaukee. It was terrible. I won at least 3 Gust. You can play Iron Bundle instead of the 3rd boss, but I have found that 3 boss is like basically the perfect number. Early lists were playing Counter Catcher, but I've found that we're basically always going ahead on prizes, and so the value of Counter Catcher ends up being quite low. So having just the extra bosses orders so that you can Gust 3 times in a game, making it easier to go 2-2-2 on your prize map is really, really good. 1 copy of Iono. You need some amount of hand disruption and, being able to like draw cards and save resources early game if you need to just see a bunch of cards can be quite good. Mostly this is going to be for hand disruption. A lot of decks have very weak draw engines, and so at the end of the game, Iono is going to be very popular, especially pairing it with Volk, knocking things out, avoiding Fez. It can be incredibly, incredibly potent. We have 1 copy of Research. Same kind of theory. You need to see cards. If you need to see cards, there's no better card to play than Research. So we play 1 copy of that. Brock Scouting. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon or 1 evolution Pokemon. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Brock Scouting basically is a non-itchy pollinable out to Noctowl, as well as a way to sort of circumvent missing Fan Rotom on turn 1. You can grab it, set up multiple basic Pokemon that you might need. It's a really good activator of things like Volcanion, because you can Brock Scouting for both Latias and Volcanion to use it more effectively. You can use it at the end of the game to get like Fez plus Latias or Fez plus Mew to draw a bunch of cards. Brock Scouting is just an incredibly flexible supporter, and one that I would not cut from the deck. It's very, very strong. We also play 1 copy of Professor Turo's Scenario. You need some amount of switch with Volcanion. Professor Turo's Scenario also lets you reset Noctowl. It lets you remove liabilities or Pokemon with damage on them from your board, so you are less likely to have them get knocked out. So yeah, Professor Turo is also a really good spot fix for the deck overall. In terms of consistency cards, we have 4 Nest and 3 Ultra Ball. We're playing 2 copies of Energy Switch. Like I said, we want to use Teal Dance in tandem with Energy Switch as a way to sort of set up our attackers in lieu of Sparkling Crystal. You can go Energy Switch a Grass to somewhere, Crispin, and then both Torrential Pump and Topaz Bolt will be fully set up. You can Energy Switch an Energy to Clefairy and just attach from your hand, circumventing the need for Crispin, allowing you to use something like Boss or Research, or even Turo, right? If you have to Turo your Noctowl, put it back down, you can get E-Switch plus Vessel or whatever, and you can go fully power up the Lillie's Clefairy that way. Speaking of Earthen Vessel, 1 copy of Earthen Vessel in here. Sometimes you just need energy to your hand, so it can be quite good. 1 copy of Night Stretcher. We want to be able to just grab something from our discard pile quite frequently, especially if decks are hard focusing down our Fezandipiti, or if we need like 1 specific type of energy for the attack that we were trying to go for on that turn. Night Stretcher is incredibly effective because it just lets you grab the thing that you want. And then Super Rod is a little bit more flexible. Super Rod lets you shuffle in 3 in combination of Pokemon and energy. And so yeah, if you need a little bit more stuff, if you want outs in your deck because you're afraid of Iono, Super Rod kind of accomplishes those things, as well as making Crispin a little bit more effective in the late game once you might be a little more out of the energies that you might need. 1 copy of Switch. Again, having the extra Switch with the Volcanion in deck is like really imperative, and also just having an extra Switch makes you a lot less prone to getting your Noctowl stalled, to getting, you know, your basic Pokemon stalled with like Latias in the discard pile or in the prizes. So the Switch is quite good as well. Sparkling Crystal is the A spec. It just activates our attackers really, really well. This card is insanely broken in the deck. There's really nothing else to say. 1 copy of Rescue Board. The retreat cost of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 1 colorless less. If that Pokemon's remaining HP is 30 or less, it has no retreat cost. This is a solution to a very specific problem that the deck has, which is that against Dragapult and Guardy to some extent, but mostly Dragapult, what will happen is you'll Torrential Pump, and then your opponent will go Counter Catcher Noctowl, because Latias doesn't allow Noctowl to free retreat. They'll Unfair Stamp you to low, and then Itchy Pollen. So before Rescue Board, it was impossible, if your opponent did that, it was impossible for you to Torrential Pump on that turn, because you would need to commit an energy to the active, or, you know, your supporter to move the Noctowl. So you have no way to get 2 energy on Ogerpon, because you can't E-Switch because of Itchy Pollen. With Rescue Board, if you draw into a Noctowl, you can Noctowl for Rescue Board and Crispin, Rescue Board the Noctowl, retreat into Ogerpon, and then Crispin to the Ogerpon, which sort of circumvents the issue that you know, line was causing for us against Dragapult. It's incredible. Rescue Board is broken. The advent of this card has significantly increased the viability of this deck, in my opinion. Yeah, Rescue Board, super, super broken. 2 copies of Area Zero Underdepths. We're a Tera deck. We want a big bench. We're playing Pagos and Clefairy. Makes sense. Jamming Tower. This one's a little bit unintuitive because our A-Spec is Sparkling Crystal. Part 1 is that we want a way to bump our own Area Zero so that we can remove liabilities from play against things like Joltik Box once you deal with the hands. Being able to slam Jamming Tower and remove all of your 2 prizers from play is an incredibly effective measure. But there's plenty of other examples, right, against Dragapult or Guardy if they're spreading damage. Jamming Tower, removing the liabilities from play is really, really good. And then shutting off opposing tools is really good as well, especially in the late game. Sparkling Crystal is usually a late game card, especially against the decks that we're going to be using Jamming Tower. Did I say Sparking Crystal is usually a late game card? I meant it's usually an early game card, whereas Jamming Tower is a late game card. So they don't really like interact in a negative way very frequently, but you can shut off things like EXP Share, you can shut off Bravery Charm, you can shut off opposing rescue boards, you can shut off Lux Cape against like Dragapult and things like that. There's just a plethora of tools that are a bit annoying for us, especially like Bear with Charm is like such an annoying thing for us to get through. So having Jamming Tower is like incredibly effective at dealing with some of those things. And then for the energy, we have 4 grass, 2 psychic, 1 water, 1 lightning, 1 metal. Yeah, that's about it for the deck list. I am going to move over to the Play.Limitless so we can take a look at my tournament run. Okay, taking a look at the actual event here, you'll see I didn't hit too many like different decks. I guess I hit a lot of Joltik Box. That being said, Joltik Box is meant to be one of our more difficult matchups. Obviously having the Volcanion helps to some extent, but yeah, Joltik Box is like a little hard for us to deal with if you're not able to get off to like a very fast start, which can be quite difficult to do overall. So we won round 1 and 2 against Joltik Box. Round 3, we hit the Raging Bolt Ogerpon. This Raging Bolt player was not playing the Libellulous. They did have the Bloodmoon Ursaluna in here, so we had to be a little bit careful with how we were playing around the Crown Opal, but importantly, Prime Catcher is their only switch option, allowing us to use Sob, like I said, very effectively in the matchup. We did also, what was our next round? I think we hit the Mirror, yeah, Terabox Mirror. My opponent threw pretty hard in this game, choosing to take a knockout on my Fan Rotom with their Fan Rotom to go from 4 to 3, giving me access to Fez, allowing me to make like a really strong play on the following turn. We hit a Gardevoir, which went really well. They Iono'd me into like really insane cards, and I was just able to keep Ralts and Curly off the board for most of the game, which is kind of our goal with the deck regardless. We hit another Joltik Box here, able to take the dub there as well. This was an ID, and then my opponent this round did not want to ID. I believe I went Hoothoot attach pass turn 1, and my opponent got like maybe turn 2 Guardy. It might have been turn 3. I don't remember exactly. But I did not attack turn 2. So they got Guardy before I attacked. But they played kind of poorly. Not kind of. They played pretty poorly to allow me to like come back into the game. Unfortunately, an Iono at the end of the game left me dead-handed even after Fez. So I wasn't able to close it out. But yeah, the one loss for the night was this matchup. And then into cut, I hit Slowking in top 8. There were 2 Slowkings in top 8 of this event. I had never played the matchup before. I've never really looked at Slowking because I haven't really taken it seriously, but my opponent was not playing Iono, so the strategy that I ended up going for was aggressively setting up Hoothoot in the early game, and then using multiple Noctowls turn 2 to just stack Crispins in my hand. So if I already had a Crispin, or if I had 2 Noctowls, I would go Noctowl for Crispin Crystal, second Noctowl immediately for Crispin. So my opponent has no way to disrupt those cards. They're always in my hand. Even if they knock out my Water Ogerpon, I can Crispin into Pikachu because they don't play Gust either. And it proved to be like a pretty effective line. Annihilate does get through Pikachu, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. The matchup is really hard, actually. I think it's probably slightly favored for us just because the deck is kind of inconsistent and you can sort of like stop them from doing anything to you. But yeah, very interesting matchup. This is a fun one to watch if you're checking out the actual tournament run. And then yeah, we hit double Dragapult in the final 2 rounds. We hit a Dragapult Dusknoir in semifinals. Game 1, I didn't play the game. I think I scooped before I took a prize. Game 2, my opponent didn't play the game, and then my opponent made the fatal error in game 3 of choosing to go first. They went Badoo pass, and I donked them with Fan Rotom. And then, yeah, straight Dragapult for the end. This is an incredible set. I don't want to spoil anything. If you have time to go watch it, go watch this set specifically because it was really, really cool. A really, really cool game that I got to play. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play some games for you, show you how the deck works. All right, getting into it. We do win the coin flip, so we are going to be able to go first here. Hopefully we get a decent starting hand. Our deck is a little bit prone to some uncomfortable starting hands, though this is not one of them. This is like an insane opening hand. My god. We can actually go like Latias and Ditto here if we want to. We literally got like, I don't know, like an absurd hand. We'll see what they end up playing. That'll kind of determine it. Mew. This could be Joltik Box. It could be Raging Bolt. Could be Guardy. I mean, if this is Raging Bolt, the best thing to do is just to go Terapagos on the bench, I think. Terapagos is prized. Okay. So if this is Raging Bolt, we're already in like kind of an awkward spot. That's okay. We're just gonna get Grass Ogre from the bench. That should be enough for now. Yeah, prizing Pagos is pretty bad if this is the matchup I think it is. I'm gonna attach the Lightning here. Is that right? I mean, if it's Bolt, I probably end up going Clefairy next turn, not Pikachu. I don't like need to commit this. I think I'm just gonna pass. If I am going for Clefairy next turn, there's no reason to commit the energy because I'll be able to just go Crispin. Arvin. Okay. So what is this? Joltik Box? Yeah, Joltik Box. Okay. Okay, so prizing Terapagos in this matchup is also quite bad. This is like one of the worst matchups to prize Terapagos in. But I should be able to take the first two. Like, realistically, I should be able to take the first two. Charm, okay. It's fine. I'm going for Pika anyway. Crystal, E-Switch, Boss. Switch. Have Ultra Ball for Pika. So I think I have it. Assuming all the pieces are in deck. Oh, there's Pika. So I need to go... Evolve here is fine. Crystal, E-Switch, Boss, Switch. E-Switch, Switch, great. So we're gonna Pika right off rip. Switch, E-Switch, and I've got Ultra Ball in hand for, what do I need? E-Switch, Switch? Yeah. I have Ultra Ball in hand next turn for, another Noctowl as well. Pretty good, right? I mean, turn 2 Pika Boss is pretty good. Pagos? I mean, I guess I don't need it now. Alright, but there it is. I'm not opposed to it. There's a Pika. Oh, they're playing Volk as well. Interesting. Okay. So the downside to Volk for them right this moment is that their board is too full for it to be like that effective. Realistically, they're gonna Jolting Charge again. They'll probably get some energy onto Pikachu. Just grabbing Owl feels wrong. It's like a pretty free. We're just putting energy. How do I want to do this? Let's see. Let's Teal Dance first, see how it goes. Another grass. Low key, I'm kind of down to just do this. I guess, yeah, I don't really want to... I don't really care to do anything else. I mean... If they go like Prime Latias here, I get punished for this for sure. But it's not like I'm that far behind, even if they do that. So I feel sort of okay about it. There's a rescue board. Nest Ball. For what? Latias? Definitely Latias. Nothing else really makes sense. Okay. Maybe they were considering getting Fez there, but it seems kind of mid. Booster Energy Capsule on Latias. Sick. Maybe they just jolting again? No, okay. There's the Prime Catcher. No tools, so they get to go for the Volk play. Yeah, it's a little annoying. Dude, it's fine. It's like not that big of a deal. You have to remove a lot of energy here is the main thing. So I can like, it's not like that bad for me to just like smack into Pika for 70. Because they can't Gust and Crispin next turn. So they'll get rid of everything but metal. Or at least they should. I don't know if they will. Okay, choosing to get rid of metal. I die to burn, so I don't get access to Fez, which is a little bit annoying, but ultimately not that big of a deal. Shove Fan. Psychic Energy. The issue, like... There's no stadium in play. Boss. I mean, I'm never going for it this turn. It's still, like, pretty good. I don't really want to get rid of Fez. But I don't want to get rid of Pagos either. Like, Pagos definitely one of the better attackers here. It has to be Fez. It's a little annoying. Grab the Owl. Owl for Stadium Nest Ball. To draw some cards, or just research maybe. I lose a boss, but do I really care? I mean, I might need the extra boss. I might need it, but I'm just gonna assume I don't for right now. Just hit the research. Nice. Get a Hoothoot maybe. Ooh, no Hoothoot. Saboger? No, it's probably Ursaluna. Look at this. Just hit for 70. It's not bad. Weird game. Okay. Okay, so they bench Bear. Nest Ball. Is it Fez? It like should be Fez, probably. How many energy are they down? This deck plays a very limited number of energy. Yeah, they're down 4 grass, 4 lightning, and a metal. That's a lot of energy to be down. 4 grass, 4 lightning, and a metal. Okay, super odd. Okay, so they just happen to have their super rod. That's fun. There's the Crispin. Oh god, okay. Psychic onto Clefairy, sure. Metal on Pika, Psychic on Clef, then restart for 3. Jolting charge. I like don't want to give them Fez is the big thing. So I don't really want to kill this Joltik. I mean, eventually they draw boss, right? There's not really anything I can do about that. Metal's Psychic. So Metal's the least useful for sure. Yeah. I don't have like I don't have a good play. Like they can just go boss kill Pagos next turn. I don't know, I'm just gonna take the kill. I give them access to Fez, but I don't have enough boss to like actually support anything else. Like I have to force the 2 prizer into the active. Boss. Yeah. So the question is, do they kill Terapagos or Ursaluna? Ogerpon, I guess. Terapagos, okay. They're down double boss prime. No energy there. Fan Rotom. I mean, if they have boss, they win. There's nothing I can do about it, right? Go Psychic here. I want to Brock for Owl now so that I can Iono next turn. Like, I want to pair Iono with the attack. Matter 70. They need boss energy. If they've got it, they've got it. I mean, there's like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, Clef kills my bear anyway, right? Yeah, there's way too many Pokemon in play. I guess I can get jamming Iono. There's another Joltik, Crispin. Wait, but they can just go, they can just go Volk Bear. 8 energy. Wait, can I go, I can Water Pond. I need Nest Ball Boss. But I just go Waterpon this until I kill this, right? I have Lottie, so it doesn't matter. So I go Nest Ball Boss. Ultra Ball Boss, I guess, is fine too. Is it in deck? So I just sob this. As long as they don't play a switch, that's just game, I think. They can burn me. Top for 40. So I actually don't have that many turns. I guess this is the downside. I guess I probably should have brought up Latias, not Volk. Because I have to get 2 energy in 4 turns now. Yeah, Boss Owl. Makes sense. I do have Rescue Ward, so that's fine. Is that game? Do I have enough? 5. No, it's not. All of my energy are in my discard pile, so I need to Super Rod. Okay. I mean, Energy Switch is good. I don't have a choice, right? Draw 1. There's Crispin. So I have to go. I have to get Super Rod. How much did I put on the bottom with Iono? 3. So Super Rod's in the top 7. Iono. Super Rod. 1 time. Okay, I got Rod Turo. So it's Rod, draw 1. Oh, just kidding. That works. There you go. I told y'all when I was going through the deck. Being able to just like sob something for a while is like really, really good. It can set up for plays like this. Granted, my opponent did have to give me this Joltik to let me have this line. But it's really easy to punish like poor play with sob as an option. So we take that win, kind of like, I would say pretty undeserved win, to be honest. But we get there nonetheless, and we'll move on to the next one. Alrighty, getting into the second game here. We do win the coin flip again, so we're going to be able to go first once again. Hopefully we have as good of a hand as we had last time. Maybe with a little bit cleaner of a game overall. But oh my god, yeah, again, what an insane hand. I'm going to start with the Waterpon. I don't have energy in hand, so it's not like... Having energy in hand would make starting Fan Rotom a little bit more acceptable, but because I don't, I kind of like need this in the active. It's like pretty important to have it in the active. Fan Rotom. I don't really, against the Badudex, you kind of assume that you're going to be against, we're going to do this. I don't want to take all the owls out of my deck in case I get Iono'd. but I feel pretty alright about this. I could throw down the Mew. Yeah, I don't actually mind throwing down the Mew, assuming that this is Dragapult. Putting Mew down is important, but yeah, in case this is Zoroark, it's a little bit risky to go for, so we're just gonna go ahead and pass. If I knew this was Dragapult, I would put the Mew down, but we'll see what it ends up being. There's Dreepy. Okay, so it is Dragapult. That makes this a little sketchy, but we'll make it work. I did not check my prizes for Sparkling Crystal, which was a choice for sure. Do they? I don't know. That's the next question. They don't. So we are going to be able to knock out the Budew and one of these Dreepy pretty happily. We're going to be able to put the Mew down to sort of play around the... What's it called? What's it called? Unfair Stamp. My god. There's the Crystal. I think I am going to throw the Area Zero into play. I mean, it's not like super important to do. But having the extra bench space can be useful. Having the extra bench space off of Unfair Stamp is useful because if I draw into Pokemon, then I can bench it and then restart, which is really good. So I think I am going to throw this down. We're going to go for the Torrential Pump. We'll knock out the active as well as one of the benched Dreepies. Feeling pretty good. Taking our 2 prizes. We have to assume our opponent is going to be able to go for Unfair Stamp. It's like... It's pretty common, right? The turn 2 Unfair Stamp is like a pretty uncommon like occurrence. Or a pretty common occurrence, I guess. They do Night Stretcher for Dreepy. There's a Dracloak, okay. They attach the energy to Dracloak. They CC the Noctowl. And Stamp? Iono? Stamp. They had it raw. That is insane. Good for them, though. We get Boss Psychic. It's like okay. It's not like a great 2 cards, I would say, but could be worse. Overall, could be worse. So, not too upset about it. Just starting the music back over there. Doesn't look like they got much going on. So maybe they are going to miss out on the... yeah, they miss out on the Ichipon here, which is good for us to some extent. There's an Energy Switch. I mean, I kind of want to just go attach E-Switch, draw 2. If I draw into Owl, I win the game on the spot. Any out to Owl is game. Nice. Assuming Rescue Board is in deck. I do need Rescue Board to be in deck. Or Switch, I guess. Switch Crispin or Rescue Board. Crispin is game. Switch board. I do want to feature the board to some extent. And there you go. There you have it. I mean, this just like goes to show, right? Like I was saying in the first slide, right? We have so much oppressive power that the deck is just like so incredibly strong from the get-go that if our opponent just like can't keep up with us, it's like nearly impossible for them to win. So you saw it there. Fast game, so we will get another one in here, and yeah, I'll see when we're getting started. Alrighty, getting into the last game here. My opponent does go ahead and win the coin flip. Let's see if they give me first or second. Obviously, we would prefer to go first. I mean, we do play some supporters, but they're not really anything that's going to like give us a great option turn 1 unless we start like Crystal Crispin, I guess. Which this hand is pretty decent. I do have the energy. They chose second, though, which leads me to believe that I'm supposed to start Waterpon. This could be Joltik Box. We're going to find out in a second here regardless. It's Zoroark. Okay, this is a rather interesting matchup, actually. I quite enjoy the Zoroark matchup, I'm glad that I started with the Waterpon here for sure. Because being able to preserve your Sparkling Crystal in this matchup is huge if you can use it for Pikachu. So we're going to go ahead and take our mulligan. We get the Energy Switch. Our opponent does start Fez, but it's fine because, again, we, in theory, can still boss next turn given the cards that we have in our hand. So let's see if Crystal's in deck. Pika is there. Grass Pond is there, which is really big for this matchup. There's the Crystal. We prized a lot of energy, and by a lot, I mean 2 Metal and second Psychic. But that shouldn't be too big of a deal. We will Fan Call here. I'm going to grab double Hoothoot and 1 Noctowl, preferring to establish my board further rather than grab the second Noctowl. We don't really need extra power next turn, so keep the Lightning Energy in my hand for now, because it is useful for Pikachu in case I don't end up torrential pumping for some reason. But given the hand we have, we're almost certainly torrential pumping. It's looking probably like a pretty clean torrential pump angle here. They go ahead and grab the Darumaka. Nest Ball again. Second Darumaka? No, grabbing a Zorua this time around. Makes sense, makes sense. Attaching the Dark Energy to the Fez. Playing Ent's Castle. Is there a research coming? Research Iono. There's the research. Research Iono, just like I said. I assume they're going to be able to set their board up a little bit better than this. But we'll see what they can do. Sometimes this Zoroark deck struggles a little bit to set up in the early game. It doesn't have, like... It's not, like, super consistent in the early game, I think is the best way to say it. Like, you have the Serrano, but actually, like, getting all of your basics out is, like, a bit of a chore. So we'll see what they can do. Putting down double Zorua. Yeah, and they're just going to go ahead and pass. So we're definitely going to knock out both of these. I'm just going to go Noctowl here. I am going to grab Ultra Ball and Crystal. Could go Nest Ball and Crystal, but I think Ultra Ball is probably better for the Owl for the next turn. Yeah. Worst case scenario, they're going to be able to go like Darmanitan with the Reversal Energy, but I'm removing the vast majority of their draw here, so I guess if that's what I'm afraid of, I should just kill the Darumaka, right? No, I think killing double Zoro is always correct. I think killing double Zoro is always correct. Bye-bye, Zorua. We've already got Crispin for next turn, so if they do go Darmanitan, unless they pair it with N, I just get to go Crispin, and then I can knock out 2 things again. Assuming that they put, you know, another Pokemon in play. Pushing the Fez is interesting. I guess they do want the energy in the discard pile for the N's PP up. So it's not so crazy as a choice. There's the Arven. I wonder what they're going to grab. Maybe Prime Catcher? Unfair Stamp, okay. I know the most popular lists in Milwaukee were rocking the Secret Box, I want to say. Yeah, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure of that fact, but I think they were playing Secret Box. Attaching the Power Glass to the Zorua, attaching a Dart to the Zorua. That means that we're safe for at least a turn. Let's see what we get. There's a Noctowl CC. So technically I can Torrential Pump. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna research though. I think I'm gonna get Rescue Board Research. And I probably just sob this for a turn. There's no Rescue Board, so I have to get Switch, which is fine. Don't care too much. This deck does play like a couple of Turos usually, but not not so concerned at this exact moment. We're gonna go ahead and bump the Ent's Castle. May as well just get rid of it. Sob for 20. See where they go from here. I do have the boss in hand now. I don't have another energy. Yeah, and them evolving Zoroark here means it doesn't like really matter anyways. There's a Buddy Poffin, probably gonna grab some Zoroas. Yep. I mean, if you're trying to play around Torrential Pump giving me 2 prizes, then that was a mistake for sure, but we'll see how it goes for them. There is another Dark Energy. Okay, boss is going to the bottom anyway, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Energy boss, there you go. There you have it. So I'm going to be able to take out the Darmanitan and the Zorua, which is pretty good. Ursaluna's not like that good. I think I just hold the Nest Ball maybe. Or I get Fez, I guess. Huh. I think I want to get Fez. Just like have it in play. I assume I'm gonna get Iono to 2 here. Another Tera Pokemon's not necessarily fixing anything for me, so I think this is the correct play. It's a little weird, but it's acceptable. Really all I have to do now is Pika this, or like Terapagos or Bear this. I can even take like 2 single prize knockouts and it's not so bad. I do only have 1 boss left, which is something to keep in mind, but I still have 2 Noctowls. I have this Fez now, so they can't Defiance Band this Zoroark, but they could play Black Belt. But if they Black Belt, then they're not bossing, right? Which is a pretty crucial point. There is the Reversal Energy, so they can Reversal and just like smack something, I guess. Kill Hoothoot maybe. Grass is an interesting 2 cards to draw. It's not terrible. They do bump the stadium. Flip the script, okay. I would not be surprised to see them go like Darmanitan kill Hoothoot, but didn't they just put this down actually? Never mind. Yeah, they can't Darmanitan. So what, I'm gonna sob for a turn? Sob doesn't really do anything, for 1 turn anyway. CC, they're just smacking into Fez. I mean, I guess that's acceptable. Like, what am I supposed to do about it? There's Monkey. So I don't actually even really want to damage them. Because they can move it to the Fez. Well, but they can copy Darmanitan next turn anyway, right? There's a Lightning Energy. I mean, I'm just going to attach Grass and pass, I think. They can go kill. What am I supposed to do about it? Nothing, I think. So we'll just pass. We'll just pass. It is what it is. So yeah, Darmanitan kills this and this. And then I can go knock out Monkey. Does it matter? I mean, not really. They don't have... This is so weird. I actually, like, don't know how this game is gonna end. Okay, they do get the dark. which is a little annoying, because if they move the 20 here, then they can go 170, move 20 again. And knock me out. No, but I'm killing the monkey. So I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, they can get the monkey back, I guess. Night Joker. Yeah. Goodbye, Hoothoot. Let's see if I get something playable out of my hand or into my hand. Is that game? Yeah, it is. That's such a I'm such a sad. That's crazy. Well, there you have it, folks. Sometimes you're just better. I was actually like kind of excited for how that end game was gonna play out. Like knocking out the monkey, and then they don't have a way necessarily to kill the Ogerpon. So I have a couple of turns to sort of like recover from their like onslaught, I guess. It would have been interesting to see how it played out. But we top deck the boss and we just win the game anyway, which is awesome. So yeah, well, I hope all of you enjoyed my little video on the Terabox deck that I used to win the Tournament of Doom. Like I said before, if you're interested in watching my full tournament run, you can do that at the link down below. Otherwise, I would appreciate y'all liking, subscribing, commenting down below. It really helps me out. And yeah, otherwise, I will see all of you on the next one.